is there's something going on underneath Antarctica. Deep in the depths of Antarctica, there have been rumors floating around about a mysterious giant hole that exists as the entrance to another world. Well, you see, in the 1960s, a lone American aviator was flying solo in hopes of exploring a land beyond Antarctica when he encountered this hole. Without hesitation, he dived headfirst into the void, only to find a hidden civilization thriving beneath the planet's crust. This civilization was not only thriving, but in comparison, was advanced in more ways than one. However, when he returned to share his story, he was quickly disavowed by the FBI, and his testimony soon became a legend that slowly vanished from public perception. Even though his original journal documents in detail his trip down the hole, and you can watch the full video by clicking on the link in the description below, many people are still asking the question.
Earth could be larger than what we thought. For decades, there has been a debate about the shape of the Earth, whether it is round or flat. All of this could be a conspiracy, but what if the Earth had more than 7 continents? Since the Middle Ages and the emergence of the first maps of the Earth, humanity has always believed that the Earth contained 7 continents. However, governments could very well be hiding the truth from us. What if Antarctica is simply a giant ice wall that prevents us from seeing the rest? And what if, once you pass through this ice barrier, you discover the 20 continents that are actually hidden from us? What if there exists a map that shows them? There are theories that suggest these continents harbor prehistoric animals, extraterrestrials, and advanced civilizations, and that the 7 continents we inhabit are actually just a massive farm or business owned by a small group of creatures who are obscenely rich in the real world, or in the other hidden continents.
Have evidence that somebody had the capacity to explore the world during the last ice age. One of the things I find most striking is the presence of Antarctica on ancient maps, because we didn't discover it until 1820, and yet it's on maps drawn in the 1500s with great detail, which again were based on much older source maps that have now been lost to us. They call it the Southern Land, and it's larger than it is today, but it was larger than it is today during the ice age. What the fuck is it doing on a map drawn in the 1500s, which we know was based on older source maps when nobody knew it existed in the 1500s? To me, the obvious answer is we are dealing with the fingerprints of a lost civilization that mapped the world and that left evidence of that mapping, which ancient map makers found and used and incorporated into their maps. These maps can be very confusing because they were trying to mix exploration data from their own period with data from the older maps. But when you look at these maps in depth, they're very, very intriguing. Because nobody had found it by then. It was an honest map.
Why did NASA stop exploring the oceans? So far, humanity has explored less than 5% of our oceans. Beneath the dark waters lie countless mysteries to unravel and many things to discover. The rumors about the Kraken, the Megalodon, and many other mythical creatures living in the ocean could go from being mere myths to becoming reality. Did NASA discover something that diverted its focus from ocean exploration? In 1958, NASA began exploring the depths of the ocean. Its mission was to map the ocean floor. But on June 28, 1978, this program was abruptly halted. This decision came as a surprise and remains a mystery. NASA immediately shifted its focus to another mission venturing into space. However, this transition raises questions. What could have caused this sudden change? What truly resides in the depths of the ocean? And the most intriguing question of all, what did NASA discover that was so extraordinary to halt oceanic research?
You're going to want to see this. Stretching off into the horizon, we have one of the largest tabular icebergs currently on our planet. It just keeps going. Something this big is kind of hard to comprehend even when it's right in front of you, but this speaks to how much fresh, frozen water is down in the Southern Ocean. For anyone wanting some perspective, take a look at the birds that are flying next to this thing. It's probably about 200 feet high, and that's just about 15% of what's sticking out of the water. The rest is down below, like an ice wall, drifting through the ocean, currently heading east toward the South Orkney Islands. Kind of wouldn't believe it if
The darkest conspiracy theories.
The Antarctica theory. After the Second World War, the first contract that was signed between the Germans and the Allies was the Antarctica contract. This contract stated that a large part of Antarctica isn't allowed to visit. Some people believe that the Germans found there something strange and probably not from this world. There were also found different high-developed buildings, which are clearly not explainable. So if this theory is true, and there is really a highly advanced civilization in Antarctica, we'll probably never know it. The darkest conspiracy theory.
I'm from outer space, I got Milky Way for blood, evolution in my veins. I'm gone, I've been far away, I'm illuminated now, make a move, start the waves. I've been dreaming about flying for a long time. I had a vision from the birds, they want the coastline. Artificially intelligent way, I'm your future, past and present, I'm a fine line. Yeah, I'm a missing link of this illusion. I am not really here, I'm an intrusion. I don't swim or sink, I just float. I don't need gravity, I just need flow. When I move, it's in a quick rumble. I won't ever fall, never stumble. And I don't need to be humble. Break down walls like there is no crumble. When I
Earth could be larger than what we thought. For decades, there has been a debate about the shape of the Earth, whether it is round or flat. All of this could be a conspiracy. But what if the Earth had more than 7 continents? Since the Middle Ages and the emergence of the first maps of the Earth, humanity has always believed that the Earth contains 7 continents. However, governments could very well be hiding the truth from us. What if Antarctica is simply a giant ice wall that prevents us from seeing the rest of the continents? And what if once you pass through this ice barrier, you discover the 20 continents that are actually hidden from us? What if there exists a map that shows them? There are theories that suggest these continents harbor prehistoric animals, extraterrestrials, and advanced civilizations, and that the 7 continents we inhabit are actually just a massive farmer business owned by a small group of creatures who are obscenely rich in the real world or in the other hidden continents.
Have you heard of such a thing as no-fly zones? For instance, you can't fly in certain areas near the Arctic Circle or the Antarctic Circle. The reasons being is because there are lands there that we're not supposed to know about. I'll give you one example. Sir Captain George Hubert Wilkins, a contemporary of Admiral Byrd, he flew beyond Antarctica 5,000 miles, according to his records, and he said that he found there many, many lands and peoples 5,000 miles beyond Antarctica. That's just one example of an explorer who has found lands that are not at all on any of our maps. They are excluded from all of our maps. That's why international pilots have such a thing as no-fly zone, because they don't want those lands to be discovered. See, have you heard of such a thing as...
They got mad when I told them that sage is witchcraft, removing bad spirits with smoke like that. Get rid of that, it's crazy. I don't play them games with Satan, nah. Forcing things to happen ain't natural, that's just playing God. They trying to run me out the booth, persecuting me for telling the truth they never knew. Somebody needs to go and give God an apology, cause we ignore his prophecies and just worship astrology. I don't care if you Aquarius or Sagittarius, God did not create it, he probably think it's hilarious. And all the Greek mythology nonsense, I ain't having it. And anyone who call themselves a god to me is blasphemous. We see 1111 and try to claim something. If it's an angel number, tell me what angel it came from. They can't. To me it look like it's another idol, cause if it's an angel number, then how's it not in...
Antarctic. 50-meter high ice wall. The ice wall that surrounds the flat Earth. Have you ever wondered how big an underwater wall is it? Are you curious to see how big the ice wall is underwater? Let's dive in and find out the secrets of the ice wall.
one thing that gives away the International Space Station hoax is the women. Now, women on zero-G planes with long hair, their hair flows naturally in the air. Women on the International Space Station, because this is all fraud, no matter what she does, no matter how she bounces around, you would expect her hair to flow in the air, and it does not happen. Their hair will never look like that, because it's permed.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
How would they know? How would they know? How would they know? I can't. I can't. Oh my god!
Do you know that there's a growing movement that think that space is fake?
I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
It's all fake.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
Why?
They're trying to keep us from the knowledge that God has created this place as a very special place. And so by pretending that it's round, they somehow or another are controlling us and thinking that we're not exceptional.
It could have been scary.
Did you notice any curvature while we were up there?
Curvature? No.
No? There's no curvature?
It's just all flat.
They began flying it around the world from Abu Dhabi last year, with stops in India and China, then across the vast Pacific.
Does running around your neighborhood prove that the neighborhood is round?
I was an airline pilot for Delta for 26 years. A pilot's primary flight instrument is his artificial horizon, which he has to be maintained level to keep from climbing and descending. From a cockpit, weather permitting, I could see hundreds of miles in all directions, viewing cities connected by roads across the flat plain as far as the eye could see.
This world is not what you think it is. This world is not what you think it is.
Imagine if somebody took the whole Earth and cut out a small circle. Then they took that circle and wrapped it around a sphere and told you that's where you live. That's all there is. How would you know? Now imagine that our world is a much larger, expansive plain with many world ponds, and they did the same thing with a small section of one pond. They cut it out and wrapped it around the sphere and said, "This is where you live. This is all there is, and you're not allowed to explore south." How would you know? It's time to break the matrix of the globe Earth mind prison.
Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. And let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven.
Well,
we train underwater.
Well, we train underwater. Well, we train underwater. Well, we train underwater.
Most of the public have no idea that the ISS is located in an underwater neutral buoyancy lab in Houston, Texas.
From right here in Houston. From right here in Houston.
The space station footage that they trick us with is not traveling at 17,500 miles per hour above your head. It's all being filmed here on Earth. An exact ISS replica underwater. Coincidence? It's a pretty simple process. Film your footage underwater, remove the water layer, add in your CGI Earth layer, and cast your spell.
I've talked before about Wernher von Braun, also known as the father of NASA. He was the head of NASA back in 1960, and when he passed away in 1977, he left the Bible verse on his tombstone, specifically Psalms 19:1, that mentions the firmament. The Bible verse itself says that the heavens declare the glory of God and the firmament showeth his handiwork, which overall led to the theory that there is a dome over our world, and that Wernher von Braun knew this and left that Bible verse as a sort of confessional upon his death. There was also people close to von Braun who believed he was holding in a deep secret before his passing. Check it out real quick.
The look in his eyes made it clear to me that he knew that there was something going on that was a big secret that he could not divulge. Wernher von Braun actually told me that the spin was a lie.
Did the government try to break the firmament? In 1962, after Operation High Jump and the Arctic Treaty was signed, the government started a new project called Operation Fishbowl. The United States did a series of high-altitude nuclear tests where they would shoot nuclear missiles straight up into the sky. The reason for doing this was because they wanted to see what would happen if a nuke was set off in the atmosphere. You would think that one time would be enough, but they did this test 11 times, making people theorize that they were doing it for other reasons. Some believe that this was the government's attempt to break through the firmament. Not to mention the name of the project, Operation Fishbowl. Why would they shoot a series of missiles in air to see how high they can blow up? Do you think the government was trying to break through the firmament?
Are there any conspiracy theories you believe in?
The flat earth theory.
Is it like a square or a disc?
No, it's just a circle, but my whole thing is that you can't prove that it's not true.
What about people who have traveled the world?
If you look at flight paths, they're very suspicious about the way that they go. Sometimes flights are a lot longer than they should be. So it kind of makes it look like how is the world round if you're going to take certain...
Have you heard about the ice wall?
It probably goes into some religious idea of where underneath is kind of that hell aspect, and then above is where all the goddesses and gods are. And so it's like we're all on the land, then when you get buried, you're under. But then if you're good, you know, you go up to the top.
And the gods live above the flat earth?
So imagine a sphere, but we're the flat plane. And then under hell, above is like the gods and goddesses.
Who are the gods?
That's up to whatever religion everybody is going to interpret for themselves.
The flat earth gods?
Why did NASA halt its ocean exploration program? Despite the fact that it's believed that less than 5% of the ocean has been explored, there could still be many undiscovered creatures and things such as the kraken and the megalodon. In 1958, NASA began mapping and charting the ocean floor. However, the program abruptly ended on June 28, 1978, and NASA shifted its focus to space exploration. What secrets does the deep ocean hold? What did NASA find during its exploration?
We can't fly close to the sun because it's 93 million miles away. How did I miss that? So that 93 million miles, is that length or is that girth? Because it would appear that the sun added a few inches when no one was looking. I mean, it looks like we're flying over that 93 million mile away sun in an airplane. And it looks like that 93 million mile away sun is in the clouds, which It's where we get our rain from, right? So that's in our atmosphere for sure. It's not outside of it. And they're definitely not 93. I'm not very good at math, but I'm high school educated. And
Words mean things, and nothing about the rakia, the stereoma, the firmamentum, or the firmament conveys any other meaning than that of a firm, solid structure that separates the waters above from the waters below, and upon which the throne of God sits. So you are forced to either accept or reject the very foundation of God's throne. And guys, that is a big deal.
If you look at the last sentence in the first paragraph, it says, the Thor missile was used to lift warheads into near space to conduct high-altitude nuclear explosion tests. These shots were collectively called Operation Fishbowl. So what happened was the government, when they started making missiles that were powerful enough that they thought they could break through the sea of glass, they, during the Cold War, used the Cold War as a tactic for exploding high-altitude missiles to try and break through what they already knew was the dome on the Earth. And actually what happens, if you read the rest of the article, these missiles would hit up at a certain altitude, and then light would shine all the way to the other hemisphere. And the reason that was is because they were hitting that glass, and the glass was reflecting it all the way across the sky. It's not some globe Earth where they're just trying... Why would they just shoot a missile in the air to see how high it can blow up? Like, are they just playing with rubber bands? Like, they're doing it for a reason, and they called it Operation Fishbowl for a reason.
Rocket trying to leave the firmament.
Time I drink, I feel like Lucifer. I ain't lying. Why are all these women so tempting? Get off my timeline. Man, I'm so confused. Like what they look at me stupid for. I'm talking about God too much and they don't think that I'm cool no more. I guess I should be talking about women, drugs, and killing money. I'm not really getting the life I'm not really living. And disrespecting religion, having sex with different women, and blatant carelessly sinning, not thinking about repenting. Wait, let me stop. I'm saying too much. I might be too hazardous. The old me is dead, but I'm back to life like I'm Lazarus. Satan, hear you listening to this. I know he mad at us. All of my depression and still came out looking fabulous. I've been talking like this lately. They say I'm crazy. I suddenly wasn't lazy. I started feeling amazing and everything started changing, like the way I switched the flow. And everybody in my business, but I don't care no more about anybody else's opinion. And I ain't about to be slowed down by something from yesterday. I'm for the name every...
Shut up, it is not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Could this be proof we never went to the moon?
Okay, so the United States claims to have sent 24 astronauts to the moon, and that 12 men even walked on the moon. But this man approached majority of those astronauts, and he asked them to swear on the Bible that they actually walked on the moon. And their responses give away everything.
If you walked on the moon, we're given the opportunity to swear to God that you walked on the moon.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to get the hell knocked out of you if you don't leave me alone.
So why don't you just put the into the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Several, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. Why don't you talk to the administrator at NASA? We're passengers. We're guys going on a flight. I don't get people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you get the Well, I take your stuff and get out. Why don't you quote me and say it's...
In honor of Artemis 1, I'm gonna need 60 seconds of your time. You really think these guys are going to the moon? That's the moon. I think they missed. Literally, just in case anybody has forgotten, Wernher von Braun, the father of NASA, put Psalms 19:1 on his headstone. A Bible verse that talks about the firmament. The irony, right? Also, if you think about it, you could rearrange those numbers and get 9/11. In honor of Artemis 1, I really hope we get some more poses like this, NASA. You guys know about that $1,000 Illuminati card game? You know, if I landed on the moon, man, would I be freaking out. I would be ecstatic. Look at these guys. Right after the moon landing. If the sun was the only light casting shadows, there would only be one angle of shadows, guys.
This is proof that there are multiple Earths inside of the original Earth.
But he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this Earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole, on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
This is a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do.
You can fly around it can make it seem like you're going around a ball, but you're really just going around in a circular pattern on a flat plane. And I was like, wow, I never really thought about it like that. And if you look at, well, of course, you know, something we always talk about is hidden in plain sight, symbolisms and corporate logos that they use. And if you look at the UN flag, this is exactly the model you're proposing. And it even has an overlay of like a bullseye pattern that shows you the overlay is exactly how planes would fly around or how ships would navigate around. But it's really odd that the UN flag would take up the exact same composition, or damn close, to the flat Earth model.
Yeah, the UN flag is a flat Earth map. You can look at it. It is not a ball Earth. It's a flat Earth, and the bullseye you're talking about that's over it, if you count the number.
Right, y'all, watch Stanley Kubrick admitting something huge.
I perpetrated a huge fraud involving the United States government and NASA. And I'm sure you've heard the rumors. That's right. That the moon landing was fake. The moon landings all were fake. And I was the person who filmed it.
Wait, you don't actually believe that all of our ancestors thought that we were on a spinning testicular Masonic ball, right? This, as a collective, we've only believed that we're on this testicular ball since like the late 1950s, bro, when the Rothschilds took over the schooling system. Sorry, but I'm not falling for it. This is pretty obvious here. 666 all over this thing. It's so weird to me. Like, why did all of our ancestors have such similar depictions of the shape of the Earth? Level with a firmament over our heads. It's so obvious we're on a ball. Why didn't any of our ancestors depict it? Are you gonna trust the people that built the pyramids? Or the people that still can't figure out how they built the pyramids?
feeling monks, let's a funk flow. Someone's talking junk, yo, I'll bust them in the eye, and then I'll take the punks out. Feeling funky, amps in a trunk, and I got more rhymes than this cops at a Dunkin' Donut shop. Sure enough, I got props from the kids on the hill, plus my mom and my pops. I came to get down, I came to get down. So get out your seat and jump around, jump around, jump around.
Wait, let me get this straight. You still think that these planets, the wandering stars in the sky, look like this? Oh, dude. Let me show you a video of us super zooming in on one. You want to see what the stars really look like? Here you go. These aren't gas balls. These aren't physical rocks in the sky reflecting light hundreds of millions of miles. I hate to be the one to tell you, but yeah, we've been lied to. Outer space? You mean computer-generated images, right? You know what they say, though. It's easier to fool people than it is to convince them that they've been fooled.
Australia. UK. UK. Australia.
You could bet that, never gotta sweat that.
I'll be the rubber band, you'll be the match, I will be a fuse. Boom, painter, baby, you could be the muse. I'm the reporter, baby, you could be the news. Cause you're the cigarette, and I'm the smoker. We raise a bet, cause you're the joker. Tricked off, you are the choke. And I could be the blackboard, you can be the toe. And I can be the phone, yeah, when the sky comes falling. Even when the sun don't shine, I got faith in you and I.
This is the truth about NASA, using the Bible. We're in Genesis chapter 3:13. And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Remember that, the serpent beguiled me. Serpent, a large snake, a sly or treacherous person, especially one who exploits a position of trust in order to betray it. So what does beguiled mean? Beguile. To deceive, mislead, or delude implies imposing a false idea or belief that causes ignorance. In the Hebrew translation of beguiled, Nasa. So Nasa means to deceive. Remember, serpent means a large snake. NASA's logo literally has a snake tongue going through the entire thing. Y'all need to wake up. Follow for more.
This was actually a true story. There was some type of creature washed up in South Africa. These guys went over there doing an exploration. I'm gonna show this little clip. Whatever it was hit their vehicle while they was underwater. The government got behind it and shut them people down so fast. And I'm gonna show this clip again in a little more closer fashion.
And I'm glad they caught that because it shows us that there's something down there. There's probably an entire civilization down there.
Creepy ocean theory. It is said that humans do not only know 5% of the ocean, but it is said that the government does not want it to be known. Since there are theories that they found beasts or something creepy there, it is said that these creatures are very large that could end our existence.
This image is located in the UN building. Includes a map of the Flat Earth UN logo with sun and moon cycles and multiple continents out of the Antarctic ice wall.
So, you want to know what us flat earthers think of satellites, huh? Dude, we definitely do not have hunks of metal that don't have engines on them. Look at these things. Look at this. Look at this insanity. Do any of these pictures look real to you? Because they're not. None of them are real. Really? Have you even thought about it? How would these hunks of metal decide, oh, I want to geocentrically orbit? They're saying these things can polarly orbit. They're saying they can geostationarily orbit. How would this, or this, or this, or this decide, hey, I want to stay over the same piece of land if there's no engines or anything on it? No, seriously, someone needs to answer this question. Don't just, if you're a heliosexual and you're like, oh yeah, I can't answer that shit, find somebody. Get them in the comments section. This is insanity. But I'd like to use the rest of the time to just show a little YouTube video, one of my favorites about satellites.
A satellite is about the size of a car, at least 300 miles away. You can't see that far, whatever those dots are that move in the night. I'm telling you, that ain't no satellite. Welcome to the satellite hoax. Just another one of them NASA jokes. You can't find me a picture of a satellite without bringing up a bunch of that CGI. A bunch of cartoons all over the place. When I search satellites in space, yeah, type that phrase into Google, folks. And let me welcome you to the satellite home. Yeah.
Don't just believe me or him. Go look for yourself. That's right. There's no real pictures of satellites, anything in space orbiting a ball. All of these are digital artists' renditions of what they think that these hunks of metal would be looking like doing 10k miles an hour around an oblate spheroid. It's all a lie. I didn't know if Sherry would let me show her last name. I couldn't get a hold of her. I don't know who she is, but she sent me $10, first donation in my Venmo. You rock, Sherry. Thank you so much. So the ISS was supposedly built in space, in orbit, by astronauts putting it together. And don't you think they'd have to have a couple live stream cameras going back to the command center, you know, and maybe be on the radio or on the phone with a Buzz telling you, hey, yeah, Buzz, this is what you got to do next. How do we not have any videos of this, people? No real pictures of satellites. No videos of the ISS. No videos of this thing spinning 1,000 miles per hour. You guys do realize it's 2022. We should have a live stream of this thing spinning. We have, look up how many satellites there are supposedly in the sky.
I've been talking about the theory that there are multiple continents in this world that are purposely being hidden from the general public. According to the theory, Antarctica isn't a continent, but an ice wall that circles all the continents that we live on. There was a U.S. admiral who got on live TV in the 1950s claiming to have found a land that was never seen by a human before beyond the South Pole, and there was an ancient map discovered that depicts the world the same way that this theory and the admiral described it. Now what's really interesting is that according to this claim, there are very advanced civilizations on these continents, and this is where UFOs actually come from, opposed to different planets or solar systems, which actually lines up pretty well historically. Because according to declassified documents, Tesla was an extraterrestrial. Extra means more, and terrestrial means of, on, or relating to Earth. So maybe Tesla was just from extra Earth opposed to being from a different planet. He also attempted to bring free energy into the world through his Tesla tower, which he said was needed to invent one of his patents called the flying machine, which just looks like a UFO.
This is how the sun-circulating Earth, creating the first seasons for those who asks how are the seasons possible in flat Earth.
Here comes the truth about the moon landings.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest? It didn't happen. It could have been scary. Look at me.
This is the 2002 Blue Marble that hangs in many classrooms and was even the wallpaper on your iPhone. It certainly looks real, and most people would think it is, but it's admittedly a fake image created by NASA. According to NASA, then we wrapped a flat map around a ball. My part was integrating the surface clouds and oceans to match people's expectations of how Earth looks from space. That ball became the famous Blue Marble. So, this phony globe was designed to match people's expectation of how Earth looks from space. Yet, it looks as real as anything produced by NASA. In fact, faking space seems to be an omitted NASA standard.
At 100 miles, there should be 6,000 feet of curvature. You don't even understand what that means.
I don't.
I understand what that means. If we live on a ball, that at every 100 miles, there should be 6,000 feet of curvature. There's a formula for it. And Navy ships that can target other Navy ships with lasers 100 miles away. It would be impossible if there was a 6,000 foot curvature of water. Impossible.
When I say the words flat earth, do you think something crazy like this? You might even think of something that looks like this. Worst of all, and I really hope you're not thinking that we believe this, that we're on a disc in space. Oh, dude. Any real flat earther will tell you, we don't believe in an edge. The Antarctic Treaty stops us from finding out if there is one, so we all don't know as a collective. We're not allowed to go independently explore Antarctica, and the Antarctica is not a continent, it's an ice wall that surrounds us. I'll just use this as an example. But if you see back here, this is propaganda, you know, because there's space. No real flat earther believes in space, dude. You guys do realize that, like, literally Neil deGrasse Tyson is saying that the Earth is a pear now. Oh gosh. Here's what the planets actually look like, dude. They're not physical objects that we could send rovers and satellites to.
For some time now, there has been a growing population of people that believe that the Earth is not actually shaped and structured the way that we were taught in school. As a result, many theories about the shape and structure of Earth have emerged. The main three being hollow Earth theory, which basically states that the Earth is hollow inside with unique species and possibly civilization. Bigger Earth theory, which basically states that the world is 3 times bigger than what we're being told with 3 times as many continents. And probably the most controversial, flat Earth theory, which states that the world is flat with a dome or firmament on top of it. Now, if you think these 3 theories are crazy, it actually gets crazier because people are starting to believe that all 3 of these theories exist simultaneously. According to this new speculation, the world is 3 times bigger than what we're being told while remaining flat with a dome over the top of it. And underneath all this is an entirely different world of unknown creatures, species, and possibly even civilization. And there may be a little evidence behind this.
Now, you know who Wernher von Braun is?
Yes.
Wernher von Braun was the head of NASA. He's the head of NASA.
Yeah,
he
people don't realize that.
He directed all 6 moon missions. And then check this out. When Wernher von Braun died, put up Wernher von Braun's tombstone. He has a Bible verse. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Wernher von Braun. What does it say? Psalm what? 19:1?
19:1.
Watch. I'll put up Psalm 19:1.
Oh, there it is at the bottom.
Now, what does it say?
The firmament
sueth his handiwork. Now the firmament, that's the dome. That's what separates the heavens from earth. That's what Wernher von Braun put on his tombstone? Get the fuck out of here. That's a deathbed confessional right there. That's a death. The guy who faked 6 moon missions put that shit on his tombstone.
What's this?
Don't touch that!
There are also blue screens. And that's what you're seeing right here. You're seeing the former president being pushed through this NASA area, and behind him is Tim Peake, an astronaut, with what looks like a blue screen, a chroma key screen right behind him. And do you see the green ball. I mean, we can compare footage around that same time compared to what was caught on camera, and you can see it's the same background. It looks like the same deal. And I've only ever found one other background, which is extremely similar to ORAD virtual set technology. I mean, this is the kind of stuff you can do on a budget right here, this video. Set of green screens.
One of the most amazing things that I had ever seen in the bottom of the ocean. It was while filming for Blue Planet in the Gulf of Mexico. And inside the ring of mussels was a lake. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm already underwater. We went out over the water in this lake and tried to descend in it and bounced off. It was so super saline and dense that the submarine couldn't go down in it. We literally bounced off, and as we bounced off, we sent ripples heading back to the shoreline. It was insane. I've never seen anything like it.
Coincidentally, a few days after this aired on the television that he had made this discovery, when him and his friend were flying the helicopter, it exploded and he died.
If you're awesome, then you probably already know where I got this clip from that I'm about to show y'all. If you want to be awesome like the rest of us, then just ask me and I'll send you the link. But anyways, y'all, check out this video of a science experiment that proves that the sun is a lot more closer to the earth than what they have been trying to tell us.
As you can see, the vials here contain molecular gases that are present in the atmosphere above us. When an electromagnetic source, such as a Tesla coil, is applied within close proximity of these gases, the coil's magnetic field ionizes or charges these gases, and the result is phosphorescent plasma. The gases become colorized. This is why our sky is primarily blue, because the sun's electromagnetic presence ionizes the atmosphere, and the result is colored plasma. When the sun is entering or exiting our region, or what the liars of the world call sunrise and sunset, we see a variety of color gradients due to its distance from the ionosphere above us.
When he moved the Tesla coil away from the molecular gases, it stopped being lit up. It went dark. And only when the Tesla coil was right next to the vial with the molecular gases, it was able to light it up. The Tesla coil is the sun and the molecular gases is our sky, y'all. It won't light it up unless it's super close to it. Every day, this flat earth stuff is starting to make more and more sense to me, y'all. I don't know. I don't know.
Now, pay attention as we turn the flat earth map into a globe. Pay attention to the continents. They are still positioned north, east, west, and south. And take a look at the ice wall. What's it become when you turn it into a ball? It becomes the Antarctica. And if you'll notice, it's south of all the continents, just like the ice wall is south of all the continents on the flat earth map. And therefore, you cannot tell the difference. The only reason that you believe what you believe is because that's what you have been taught to believe without questioning it.
Do you remember learning about the Earth's equator? You know, the imaginary line that runs around the center of the Earth at 0 degrees latitude. If you look at this map here, you can see that the equator runs through several countries. This is the flag of one of those countries, República del Ecuador. For any non-Spanish speakers, República del Ecuador translates to English literally as Republic of the Equator. Here you can see Ecuador up close. Its capital city is Quito. Ecuador is located on the western tip of South America. It's bordered by Peru on the south and Colombia to the north.
What's interesting about it?
Ecuador is one of only 17 countries to be classified as mega-diverse. Ecuador also owns the Galapagos Islands. These islands influenced Charles Darwin's theory of Darwinism. They lie about 600 miles off the coast of Ecuador. Quito is also the largest and most populous city of Ecuador. Spanish is the official language of Ecuador, but Quechua is spoken by many of the indigenous people who still live there.
Earth is flat, it's fact that the earth NASA lies.
NASA is a devil in disguise. I repeat, no shuttle has ever pierced through the sky. You decide, look at any launch, how they fly sideways, never straight up. Yeah, that would work if the globe wasn't made up. NASA every day gets paid chunks of money for what? Some kids don't even get to eat lunch, disgusting. Some people don't even get to eat nothing. And we're trusting, cause buildings ain't crumbling as we hurl through space doing 60,000 and something. Nothing you say will change my mind. We've been lied to. If you don't want to believe me, that's fine too.
We ask science to tell us who we are, and there are scientists that don't like the answers. Science has been hijacked by corporations, by politics, by religion, by academia. They will cherry pick the information that supports their agenda and they'll leave the rest behind. At big universities, I ask them, why can't you share with your students the DNA discoveries that overturn the story of evolution as we've come to know it? They say, if I were to teach the new discoveries, it would invalidate my 40 or 50 year career. I said, no, it would not. It would actually show your students how relevant science is, because science is made to be constantly updated. You cannot teach your students the story you learned in the 1950s. Technology has given us the ability to look into DNA in a way that we couldn't do in the 50s and 60s. So there is a battle going on right now for our thoughts.
For them.
Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. But going to Mars should be one of the next series of steps that humans do. The first step should be...
You don't have to watch a video, bro. There's a live feed. Let's check it out. Shit, Houston, cut the feed. Go back to the pool cam.
So remember, when we're talking about this flat Earth model, Antarctica on the globe is at the bottom, right? So when you think of a globe, you think of Antarctica at the bottom. But when you think of the flat Earth model, remember the north is the top. And if you squish the globe, the north would be at the center, right? So what does Antarctica become? It becomes the ends all the way around 360 degrees. So their globe model is actually false. They make it seem like a continent, but what it really is it's the ends of the Earth. And the reason that those ice walls, those ice shelves are so high is because they're holding in the waters. They're holding in everything. And God has established it. Look at Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 10. And his dominion shall be from sea even to sea, and from the river even to the ends of the earth. So God has established ends to our earth. So remember, when we're
Yo, some people say that God made the entire ocean as a playground for this thing right here. Do y'all know what this is? Well, let me show you in the Bible what God says about it. The book of Job says, nothing on earth is its equal, no other creature so fearless. Of all the creatures, it is the proudest. It is the king of beasts. So this beast that God calls the king of all beasts is a Leviathan, which is basically an indestructible sea monster that literally only has one weakness, which is God. But my question is like, yo, God, why did you make this? Why do you need this thing, right? And what he said was to show you that my ability to create is way beyond anything that you could ever imagine. So just a reminder that God is in control, and we serve an all-powerful God who literally created creation itself. Think about that. Anyway, get in my comments. Let me know what y'all think about this. I'm out.
I have been told by a man who worked for the Defense Intelligence Agency for 23 years that the National Science Foundation of the United States has scientists that are meeting and collaborating with extraterrestrials in Antarctica in this deep underground installation, something that one of the military people said to me. The walls had hieroglyphs, but the walls did not join with the ceiling. He said, we can only conclude that we are dealing with technology that is neutralizing gravity. Advanced beings could deliberately have isolated Antarctica under deep ice and snow like a partition from the rest of the world as a terraforming strategy to cohabit on Earth while ensuring that the alien base at the South Pole would be hidden.
Was this man unalive for exposing another ocean beneath the Gulf of Mexico? This is Michael Degree, a deep-sea filmmaker and one of the very few souls who witnessed the fountains of the deep.
Inside the ring of mussels was a lake. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm already underwater. We went out over the water in this lake and tried to descend in it and bounced off. It was so super saline and dense that the submarine couldn't go down in it. We literally bounced off, and as we bounced off, we sent ripples heading back to the shore.
Not too much longer after this documentary, he perished in a helicopter crash. Now, was he unalive for exposing too much, such as the firmament and the fountains of the great deep, both which we cannot penetrate, therefore discrediting all of modern-day science and what we're told when it comes to our great planet?
December 1st, 1959, all 12 countries active in Antarctica signed a United Nations treaty that outlawed all public travel south of the 60th southern parallel. This was the same time that NASA was formed. The world's attention was pulled away from exploring Antarctica and directed firmly on the moon. In 1962, a series of high-altitude nuclear tests was carried out by the United States. It was called Operation Fishbowl, which has caught the curiosity of many flat Earth researchers because the flat Earth model shared by the ancients was one where we lived within a sphere, upon a flat surface, and surrounded by a massive dome, like a fishbowl, or The Truman Show.
If the spherical earth teaching is false, and the devil uses it to hide God, guess what the result is? It did not happen. This did not hide God, because over 6 billion people in the world believe in God, and over 98% of all believers know the earth is spherical, so that would be the devil's biggest failure. But if the flat earth teaching is false, and the devil uses it to discredit believers, how many people reject the Bible because they know the facts and the evidence supporting a spherical earth, and they believe the lie that the Bible says is flat? Thinking that the Bible actually teaches flat earth, they reject the entire Bible. But those who would otherwise be vessels of truth buy into and promote the flat earth deception left as a laughingstock to the world. Therefore, flat earth makes a mockery of the scriptures, makes God very small, brings reproach upon the name of God, and totally discredits anyone who professes it. Mission accomplished. The devil's masterpiece.
If there is no air or wind on the moon, why is this American flag waving?
The fact that the flag flaps on the moon where there's no atmosphere means that there must have been a little blast of wind out in Area 51 where they shot this.
Theories about Antarctica first began circulating way back in 1954 when a United States admiral got on live TV and said this.
But strangely enough, there is left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America.
3 years later, in 1957, this same admiral passed away. A year after his passing in 1958, NASA was established. Then the following year after NASA was formed, in 1959, the Arctic Treaty was signed. This led to some speculation that this was all connected somehow. That Admiral Byrd had spoke a little too much about this unseen continent and got people a little too curious. So they formed NASA to get people to focus on space exploration instead of continental and Antarctic exploration, then proceeded to implement the Antarctic Treaty, making it tough for any independent explorers to actually go there without a permit or express permission from their countries.
One specific video where Apollo 11 just gets back and they're in a press conference. Look at these guys, their body language, how they're speaking for like an hour and a half. They're depressed, like they're saying a script.
They're being very, very calculated and careful about what they're saying.
Right, and their facial expressions, especially Armstrong, is just disgusted. What happened? Before they supposedly went to the moon, they were excited, they were happy. If you look at TV footage before that, they were ecstatic. And now they've just been like on the greatest journey a human can potentially take in physical at that time, and they're just depressed.